Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today this video is for you guys. Recently I put up a video called questions for me and updates, and I told you guys to comment below and I'll answer your guys questions within the comments. But in this video I'm gonna answer you guys questions on video, so I'm gonna shout out a lot of the people, my subscribers. So let's just jump right into it. But before I get into the video, what I would say is, guys, if you want to support me and support the channel, there's two things you can do. Always hit like, subscribe, bell notification. That's not really one two things, but number two, also if you want to support the channel, I do have a Teespring account below, digs only period shirts that you can order from Teespring if you want to support the channel. But outside of that, guys, add me at Boost in Motion on IG. But anyway, guys, let's get into it. Now, I already answered some of the questions, but I thought that I should definitely just make a video which is answering you guys questions, because it's so much. So anyways, let me jump right into it. I've already answered half of them, so for some of the people who I don't comment for you guys, just don't get too upset with me. But Pavel asks, I don't recall you having subframe collars installed. Any reason you didn't install them? I definitely recommend, from everybody else's experience with the subframe collars from Z1 Motorsports, I definitely recommend this modification if you're keeping the car. Knowing that I'm not keeping my Q50, I never chose to purchase them, and I didn't see the sense spending the money on something that pretty much I'm not going to keep with the car. That's why. Omar said, stop the madness, get the new Z, or get a right-hand drive car and mod that. You know what, I would love to, but where am I gonna find a right-hand drive car that's affordable in the States? That, you know, unless I go to Canada. But most right-hand drive cars, it's probably gonna have to be an R32 or R33, probably an R33, and those are really expensive in Canada right now. Boost, I've got a 2016 Q50 3.0T, but this is what Shygon said, would like to know out to bypass the parking brake for your video. Thanks. I'm a bit confused what you're saying. Would like to know how to how to bypass the parking brake for video. I'm not too positive on how to bypass that. There are units on the aftermarket, different. I think NAVIKS makes a unit where you can bypass the parking brake and a few other things, but to be quite honest, I really don't know the answer to that, so I'm sorry, brother. All right, so JRE asks this question: when you turn on Recirculate on the car, is more aerodynamic at high speed? That's his question. Pretty much, if you guys go to your HVAC controls, you have something called Recirculate. He's pretty much saying, does it make your car more aerodynamic? I highly doubt it. I think it just uses the in-cabin air and recirculates within the cabin itself. I believe, if you guys can comment below, I believe that allows the car to cool a lot quicker within the car itself, but I highly doubt that will make the car quite quicker on road racing. I mean, there is more here. He says, try cracking the window a few inches, go to 70 and turn it on and off the HVAC recirculate button and see how the airflow changes coming in the window. HVAC can be set to off and do this. What are your thoughts after you try this? I have definitely done this before. I didn't see really any much of a difference. I think it just recirculates the air within the cabin itself. But good question. I could be definitely wrong. Guys, comment below if you tell me what you think. What temperature thermostat does Red Sports have stock, and does anyone make any lower one? I believe the thermostat on our car is electronically controlled, so we can't really make a lower temperature one. You would have, it would probably have to be done in the ECU where it's electronic thermostat, and they'll probably open up a lower at a lower temperature. He says, with all the heat problems, would it help to buy an extra 20 minutes before the exchangers can keep up? I'm itching to trade my 37XS up to an RS or slightly older S5, but so on the fence. Nothing wrong with the G's in 6 years. These VRs and steer-by-wire seem scary. When it comes to the steer-by-wire, most car manufacturers are going to have steer-by-wire, so you're gonna have to get with it. This is not the only car manufacturer. Even the new Hellcats come with steer-by-wire. No one talks about that. The older ones don't. So you're gonna have to get with the day and age of steer-by-wire. And for to go back to, you said buy an extra 20 minutes before the exchangers can keep up. I'm kind of confused what you mean by that. If you're talking about the car cooling off or be able to heat up and not heat soak or whatever, I think that might be what you're talking about. But to be quite honest, the thermostat wise, the car isn't heat soaking because of the thermostat. The car is heat soaking because the heat exchangers are getting hot. So it's not properly cooled from the heat exchangers for the turbos. The cooling system for the engine is completely different. All right. Boost, I purchased a 2017 Red Sport. And I've been watching your videos. Fantastic job. I know you were promoting Rev 9, but I'm feeling that the STILLEN exhaust, but I can't find an Axleback for my car. Any recommendations on where I can get one without breaking the bank? Well, I wasn't promoting the Rev 9. It's just that Rev 9 was one of the most affordable. Most bigger companies don't really want to work with me because I have sent out emails. Either I get no response, or I can get to the right people, or they say they're not interested in it this time. The only Axlebacks that I have on my car was the Rev 9 one with the 2 muffler canisters, and I did have the STILLEN one I bought used a few years back. That was pretty okay, but to be quite honest, the cheapest Axleback with mufflers, not a muffler delete, but with mufflers, is the Rev 9 one. That's at Virgil. He had asked that question. Also, the other one was from Reed01. He was talking about the thermostats. All right, bear with me, guys. Okay, so FO said, on the Q60 3.0T Premium, what are all things that I can install, upgrade without losing my warranty? And he says a road drive car. So this question has been asked plenty of times when you guys come to my channel. What modifications can I put on my car so I can protect my warranty? And pretty much leave your car stock. Literally, leave your car stock. But one of the reasons why this channel was started, outside one of the reasons why this channel caught a lot of traction is because I got a Burger Tuning JB4 boost controller. I had it on the car for like a year and a half, and I got it because of warranty purposes. I wanted to be able to turn the boost up, have fun with the car, and it'd be reliable. And if anything does go wrong, just unplug it. It takes 5 minutes to plug it in and 2 minutes to unplug it, literally. That's probably the only thing I can honestly say when it comes to installing something, gaining a big amount of horsepower and taking it off. Outside of that, when it comes to bolt-ons from intakes, you can definitely install AMS intakes and AMS heat exchanger for the 3.0T VRs. Anything else outside of that is technically not under your warranty. Of course, they have to prove that it caused damage to your car, but some dealerships work with you and some dealerships don't. And I'd rather you guys go home by taking a condom off first, if you know what I mean. All right, good question, Fo. Cole said, what's your opinion on the RA500 package from AMS? I believe the RA500 package is pretty much, I could be wrong. I think the 500 package is the E85 package. Pretty much downpipes, heat exchanger, intakes, and fuel pumps. I believe you have to get the fuel pumps from fuel pumps so you can run E85. That's high pressure and low pressure fuel pump, and that's what I believe the RA500 package to be. If I'm wrong, if it's not that one, it's probably the regular package, which doesn't include E85, which is just downpipes, intakes, and a tune, which is perfect, and a heat exchanger, which is a tune. You can price a lot of the stuff from AMS for cheaper. Just for people who's watching right now, for the purposes of this video, you can always get downpipes for cheaper. That's why I advocate getting Megan lower downpipes to your 3.0T. There's no point in spending $400 compared to $150. Doesn't make sense. People like to make fun of me and sit there and say, oh, Boost like to get the cheap shit. No, it doesn't make sense for you guys to spend all the extra money for a name, and the wells are not even that much more better than Megan's. Just don't get the Megan's for your 3.7 NA. Okay, you can get the Megans for the 3.0T. all right. The heat exchanger, there's other heat exchangers on the market. People want to go with the protection of the heat exchanger for AMS because warranty purposes, but if you don't really give a f about none of that, you can go with as cheap as a frozen boost heat exchanger, the one that looks like it has a front mount for the front grill, or you can go with the Burger Tuning heat exchanger, which pretty much hidden more to the back. That's about $300 to $400. Or you can go with PLM or Mishimoto, which is right around $500. So yeah, you guys can save a little bit of money. But if you guys want my honest opinion, I think I made videos about it. I would recommend the Mishimoto heat exchanger. It's about the same size as the AMS. You save yourself about $200. Whew. All right, good question, man. Good question. Mr. Infinity said, hey, how do you feel about the Porsche 718? It's not that expensive. Might be something to think about if you ever want to trade in the queue. Well, the reason why I wouldn't really get a Porsche 718, reason being is it is relatively cheap, but think about it. It's just like how people make fun of the 2.0T for the Q50. It's like, yeah, you want a Q50 that bad, you went and got a 2.0T. So it's at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you're still not getting a quality product, but when you go to Mercedes, when someone gets a CLA, or you know, or even an A class, which is not really that bad, people still make fun of them. And how do you think they feel about Infiniti? Doesn't have that type of stuff. If you get a Q50 from Infiniti, nobody looks at you and say you're ain't shit, because we don't have that same stature such as BMW, Mercedes, and BMW. You know what I'm saying? I would say BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. So we don't have that same stature. So if you get a Q50, they're like, all right, you're doing good. You got Q70, you're doing good. It doesn't matter, you know. But those type of cars, you just try to stay away from the bottom. I think the 1718 is not bad, but I believe, what's the new car that they have? I think it's the GT4. I really like the Cayman. The Cayman, I think it's a Cayman GT4. Could be completely wrong, but I definitely like how that car looks, and it's like a 4-liter V6 NA, and it has like 400 horses. It's actually relatively good. Shout out to Edu Drives. His question was 3.0T non-sport to 2017. If I want to tune the car, what would you recommend installing to maintain reliability? Quite honestly, just make it very simple and easy. Just make sure you always check your oil. Number one, that's super important. Number two, when it comes to reliability, you actually got to just get the car tuned properly. Remember, you're adding boost to the car, you're adding more air pressure to the car, so you're literally adding more stress. So if you really care about reliability completely, just leave it stock. But no one's gonna do that. Outside of that, just make sure you go to a reliable tuner and you get tuned on a proper fuel. That's honestly it. Tell them that you don't want a balls to the walls tune. You just want the car to gain power, but you don't need to squeeze all the power in the sense of the car. But I would say it's not only the tune, it's how you guys have your driving habits. So when you get a turbo car, I don't care if it's an M4, people like to sit there and make fun of me. You go get an M4, you go and try to beat on that car every day, waking day. It might take it for the first few thousand miles, but those turbos will be stressed. The motor will start to stress out. People have lost their crank hub over time, period. This is from my own research, because I was looking to get an M3 and M4. So at the end of the day, turbo cars still need time to cool off. So you got to give the car time to cool off through beating on it back to back to back to back. That's why. That's honestly why. So I would say once you get tuned, take your time and protect the car. Lastly, are blower valves and coil intakes recommended if you get a tune? I would recommend getting blower valves if you're keeping the car on finance. It just makes sense. Even though Infiniti didn't engineer this system to have blower valves or diverter valves, as you would call it, I don't see the harm in doing so, because it's just, I think it's one more extra safeguard. AMS said they don't really, that the car doesn't need it, but I will still recommend, if you're pushing 20 psi, why not have a vent system to relieve the excess psi just to protect the car? I don't see an issue in that, period. That's a good question, man. I appreciate that, Edu Drives. And his last question is, what's the best build to get to 450 to 500 horsepower and maintaining the reliability as close as maintaining the car as reliable as possible? At Edu Drives, again, this is the last question, and I'm super appreciative of this question. And I gotta be honest with you, like I said just now, when you add more power, you're taking away the reliability because you're adding more stress to the car. If you want 450 wheel horsepower, you can get that done with an upgraded heat exchanger, lower downpipes, a CATBACK exhaust, and a 93 tune. Kind of balls to the walls. These cars push, to get to a 450 wheel horsepower, you have to push like 18-19 psi on 93 fuel and some decent weather to get 450. But that's kind of more on the high end of power. More, if you're on 91 fuel, you won't be able to touch 450 wheel horsepower with all those bolt-ons. Even you would have to start playing with E85. If you're on 400 wheel horsepower, that's where you're gonna have to go a little bit more extensive into the modifications. Like the ones I stated before, now you're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to go out and get a high pressure fuel pump from AMS or Spool Performance. Two, you would have to get a low pressure fuel pump from AMS. You're gonna have to go get a flex fuel kit from Fuel It Company, or there's another companies that make flex fuel kits. This so that it can be able to read the amount of ethanol to your gas tank. Get this stuff installed on top of the other modifications that you have. I have all these videos and stuff on my channel if you want to go check it out to know how to run to get to 500 wheel horsepower on the 85 and all the pretty much the bullet points that you need. I already got the videos about that. And gonna get the car tuned on E85. E85 is a bit safer to run because it actually burns a lot cooler, so it wouldn't have as much heat, but you're also adding more stress to the car because you're adding more torque and power to the car. But these cars been out for what, 4 or 5 years, about 5-6 years now, and out of all the cars in the community, 450 to 500 horsepower seem like it hasn't been an issue for where as people are blowing transmissions. That's not a thing in this community. Blowing motors, that's not a thing in this community. Blowing turbos, yes, that is a thing in this community. And I can't sit there and say that it's the tuner, and I can't really sit there and say it's the car. I honestly gotta say it's the driving habits. If you beat in the car in 120-degree weather, trying to go from 60 to 140, racing back to forth on 0-20 and 0-30 oil, this is an economy car. These parts are not made to go on a racetrack. So after thousands of miles, you will run into issues, period. So otherwise than that, guys, if I answered all your videos on these comments, you can comment below. May not get to the comments in this one, but if you guys want to comment and ask me questions, hit me up at boostinmotion on IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Outside of that, once again, if you want to support me, support the channel, Teespring account below for my Boost in Motion merch. And otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate everybody who commented in that last video. I think this was actually a good one. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button, watch the videos from the start to the finish. Thank you guys so much, appreciate it. You have a good day. Thank you everybody for watching. Do appreciate you guys, love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.